Alright guys, welcome to the Media Hijack Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Walters, and joining me is Chris, Unholy Jesus.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Media Hijack, episode 141.
Shit.
Today's first topic, we're going to be talking about secret ancient mystery schools all around the globe. Why are they ancient? Why are they secret? They've been doing this for a long time, from the beginning. Okay. And there's a reason why. And I know all the answers.
Let's hear it, man.
I know all the answers from the beginning.
I know nothing about this topic, so I'm excited.
And then I'm going to be talking about ISIS and the machine people.
Oh, ISIS. I thought you were talking about the terrorist folks.
No. ISIS, like the goddess queen.
The real one.
Well, not queen, but like the female goddess.
Okay.
That they worshipped in Egypt.
Word, okay.
Because, I was thinking, too, I was like, all right, ISIS, are they talking about the terrorist group?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, how did the terrorist group end up with that name? Does it have any correlation with the Egyptian goddess?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't look at it that deep because I was like, okay, this is unnecessary. So this is why when I'm talking about ISIS, I'm talking about like a goddess queen.
Yeah. Not the terrorists.
Yeah, because like the story I'm going to tell you guys, you just got to have like an open mind. Don't just close the book right away, because this is the story that I'm getting is from a whole bunch of people that have like an experience with hypnosis. Okay. And they're able to recall like a past life. Okay. Whether you actually had a life here or you had a life elsewhere or you had a life as like a plant, a bird, or a dolphin.
So the hypnosis like kind of like takes down that wall of... Yeah, like I guess a mental block, I guess, or
she's like, I don't know what kind of gift she possessed, but she's able to get like these people, regular old people, out of nowhere to tell these really like complex, detailed stories sounding like a sci-fi movie. Like imagine like a farmer lady telling you like this detailed story about like her past life, but it sounds like a fucking sci-fi movie. Shit. And it's so deep, and you're like, this is just a farmer speaking like this. So when they're under hypnosis, she's able to get them, like the subconscious, to tell a story about one of their past lives. And then they would tell them, oh yeah, I used to be so-and-so and blah, blah, blah in Egypt. And then this is what happened. And there's so much detail.
I bet, man. Unlocking the door for all that. Oh, man,
yeah, so interesting. Much. Yeah. It's, the lady that does like all the hypnosis, her name is Dolores Cannon. Yeah. She's an old lady too. And if you're thinking about like her, like, like how she is and stuff, if you actually read one of her books, you would think the first thing that I thought of when I read one of her books was, there's no way this lady can come up with all these like stories, like they're so detailed and complex, and it's almost like it makes you wonder, like, is it real? And then you start thinking like, and how is this lady coming up with this story?
Because it's so detailed.
Yeah, it's like a professional sci-fi writer. And people's like, oh yeah, you're just a sci-fi writer. She was like, yeah, that would be the easy way.
Yeah, that's the easy answer.
Yeah, to make up all these books. But she actually, like, when she's doing these hypnosis, right, on these people, she has like her little recorder, and then she asks them questions, and then, they answer back, and it's all recorded on like a tape recorder. Old school, not the...
They basically their true selves, I guess, come out?
That's and she's been doing this for a long time. So all her books is like a collection from like past hypnosis sessions that she did, maybe like even from like the 80s. Okay. But you can correct me on that if you guys are fans of her. But she's been doing it for a long time. I just don't know how long. But she has like a bunch of tapes of people telling their story from all over basically the whole universe. And it's incredible, man. Like, my sister Bob, she got me into it. And then I heard one story where like it vibrated with me so much to where I ended up reading 6 more books. Yeah, I completed like 6 other books of hers like within a few weeks because I was so like intrigued.
And you just wrapped up reading all of it now? Or?
Yeah, she has like more books, maybe 15 or 20.
Damn.
But I was like, thank God. Because I was like,
you want some more?
Yeah, I was like,
want some more knowledge?
Let me know more. Then I came across a book called Hidden Sacred Knowledge, and this is what I'm going to tell you guys about. So, okay. Like the Hidden Sacred Knowledge is going to be talking about like the ancient mystery schools, and then I'm going to tell you guys about all that.
Cool. Hungry for knowledge, man. It's
going to be
a
fun show. Chris, what's your topic?
My topic is remember a long time ago you sent me like a picture of like the conspiracy iceberg shit? right? With all so I was hitting like a wall on ideas what to talk about on Sunday, and I was like, I have it saved on my phone. I was like, let me pull that bitch up and let me look for a topic on there. Let me get some ideas. And this was actually on there. It's actually about the dancing plague of 1518. Never knew about this. Apparently, I even looked up a YouTube video, and several YouTube videos have like millions of views on it. I'm like, damn, I've just never heard of it. But it's about a plague pretty much that broke out in 1518 France, where people just started dancing in the street till their feet started bleeding.
Damn.
And nobody knew why. And to this day, they still don't know why. But,
for a good time.
And right? People died in this whole thing. Like,
hey, stop dancing, your feet bleeding.
Yes, people were dancing until they died.
that big toe came off. Like,
oh, there's my leg.
You danced a bit too hard.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about that craziness. And then I got a couple of small news if we have time. But other than that, that's going to be my main thing I'm going on.
All right. Okay, before we start, I want to talk about something like real quick.
Okay.
So, like the CIA, right? They released like, it was like maybe like leaked documents about how like to control like the human psyche or whatever, or like little tricks that humans can do or people can do. But so the CIA, right? They said like the best way like for you to get like a good sleepless night of rest and shit, they have like a little code for you can do.
What?
So like so the code is for you to get like a good night of sleep is that you take 5 deep breaths, really deep breaths, and then let them out 5 times, and then after you get to the 5th time, you count to 20. After like you count to 20, this is when like you're about to go in deep sleep mode. And I did this right. The first night I did this, I did the 5 deep breaths. I count to 20, and you know what's the crazy part about this whole shit? That it made me freak out. Because like when after I did the deep breath, right, and then I started counting, you can hear your heartbeat. It's like because you can hear, if it's quiet, you can hear your heartbeat.
You hear your whole body working, man. Like,
yeah,
shit moving around in your stomach.
Yeah, you can hear everything. So like I heard my heartbeat is like beating regular, like dum 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 dum. I was like, okay, cool. Right after I hit 20, right, the shit was like dum dum. I was like, no.
It's going to the rest mode.
I was like, it slowed my heart down that much.
And so what is it like? How many deep breaths?
5 deep breaths.
5 deep breaths.
And then count to 20.
Okay, and then that's when and this is to help like sleeping?
Yeah, it'll help you like sleep.
Holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, but I got freaked out because right after I said 20, I couldn't hear my heartbeat no more. Like I heard like one thump. I was like, and then I freaked out because I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm about to die right now.
I'm gonna sleep.
I panicked. I was like, why is it taking so long for my second heartbeat?
Yeah.
I was like, is it just me? I was like, is it in my head? I was like,
did the CIA? Is it the CIA?
Yeah, I was like, CIA they played me.
They trying to kill me. They're trying to take me out, man.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, man. Why is my heart beating so slow? I was like, I can't wait to tell this in the podcast. Maybe like you guys can do it too, see what happens.
Oh no, man.
Yeah,
I was scared for that.
I did like fall asleep like right after that, and then next thing you know, it was morning time, and I was like, oh, that was nice.
Did you wake up like with a lot of energy, or just kind of like
I felt like I didn't wake up not one time during my whole sleep.
Okay.
So like it was cool. I was like, then the next night I got excited. I was like, I'm gonna do it again.
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. But like my heart didn't do that weird shit.
Oh.
I was like, okay, it's normal. I was like, cool. And then I fell asleep. I was like, so now
just took you out this time.
Yeah, I'm getting in the habit of doing it every night now.
Okay.
It does help me.
That's good, man. We all need some type of sleep aid, man, because I don't know what it is, man. It's like my brain and how my body functions. I can't sleep past 6 hours. So if I go to bed at 3 in the morning, I'm up at 9. Me personally, I can't sleep past 9 o'clock at all. I don't care what time I go to sleep. Very strange.
Yeah, my body too is like, nope, I know you're off, but nope, you're waking up.
Fuck sleeping in. You better find something to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into the secret ancient mystery school and ISIS and the machine people. But first, like, I'm gonna talk to you guys about like the beginning of how everything started.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I talked about this like in many other episodes where I talk about how the Earth and stuff was all created and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting all this information. Like I told you, the lady Dolores Cannon, she does like a past life regression on people, and then they tell her stories about their past life. And sometimes she come across like people who are known as gods.
Okay, so past life regression,
and alien entities.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like some people, like a lot of the people that she does the past life is like beings from other like planets, other realms and stuff, telling their story. And I was like, damn, how how are her stories like that, like detailed and complex, where they talk about how the aliens are like from other realms, and then she talk about different races of aliens and stuff.
So basically, like, our soul isn't just confined to this planet. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's like our soul, the data that's within our soul, with all our past lives, it all stretch out throughout the whole universe, not just confined to Earth.
So they would have our true selves would have the knowledge of anything previous before this now. Right. But us, we're like, well, I don't know.
Right, like we here, this is not like our final form, but we all were other things way before, like we even became like a human body. Like, okay. For example, we could have been a fish. We could have been like a bird. Because I remember, like, I took an acid trip. That sounds crazy, but I took an acid trip one time, right? And I remember I was in the water, breathing. I was like, in my head, I panicked because I was like, hey, I can't swim. I don't know how to swim. So I said that out loud. I was like, hey, I can't swim. Why am I in the water? But then I was like, wait, I can breathe underwater? And then I swam so fast all the way to the bottom. I was like, oh, shit.
You were a fish.
I'm thinking I was a fish because I was like, damn, I'm swimming fast as fuck. And then I went all the way to the bottom of the ocean. And then boom, next movie, I was in Atlantis. And that's how it started.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's this is a show, it's not on air anymore, but it's called like Supernatural. One of the main characters of the show, I think, what was it? His soul got sent to hell. Like, one of the main characters, his soul got sent to hell. And when his brother was able to save his soul and get him out of hell, or I can't remember how he got out of hell, but basically, like, his soul got out of hell and got back to his original body. They had to, like, this angel had to, like, put up like these mental blocks in his mind because he had been down there for like a year, but in hell's time, that's like a century. So when he went back to his body, this angel had to do like some kind of like Enochian type of spell on him to like set up these mental blocks, like these call them like walls, and the walls would prevent him from remembering anything that happened because his soul remembers it, but once he got put back in his body and everything, and he got kind of like reset, he's not gonna remember anything. Only if you got the walls up, but once the walls get torn down, he started remembering everything that he got because he got tortured for like a century in hell, and that's why they had put up all these walls and stuff. Crazy show, man. But that's what I was thinking of just now, of maybe like these walls get put into place because imagine we all had knowledge of what we were throughout past lives. That would drive us insane. Like, how would you be able to move forward in your life when you like, man, I used to be like a prince or a king or something somewhere else, and now I'm working a 9 to 5. Like, how am I supposed to?
Dude, I did had a moment like that, man, where like I actually saw myself being buried in a pyramid, but on like one of the top chambers. But the crazy part about that experience, I was buried alive. And I fucking freaked out. I was like claustrophobic. How do you say that?
Claustrophobic.
Yeah. Then I felt like I couldn't move and stuff. I was like, damn, why they bury me alive like that, you know? But then I was wondering like, what was like my past life like in Egypt? I was like, what was my my role or whatever? And I felt like I played like a powerful role. And that's when that shit hit me when I was at work. I was like, why
am I here?
Why am I doing this?
Why am I stuck doing this menial labor, man?
Yeah, I went into that mode. I was like, do they know who I am? It's like one of those. I was
once a king, man.
I was like, they know they can do this? It was one of those weird moments. I was like, man, snap out of that. It's like, come back to reality.
Yeah, man.
Whatever happened in the past, who knows?
That was the past. This is right now.
All right, so the beginning origins of the story of Earth. All right, so the idea of how it all started was like extraterrestrial beings played a role in developing the life on Earth, as well as like a lot of like interesting concepts I'm about to tell you guys about. Like, so the ET beings, the real story, according to this book, they said that the ETs came down and they manipulated the DNA of apes to create the human species. This is where the missing link comes in, to where we would never find the missing link because of what happened here, where they took like the DNA of the apes that's already currently here on this earth and they manipulated to make our species.
It basically just interfered in the evolution of this planet already.
Yeah, they added their mix to it and be like, all right, let's modify that shit. This is why we cannot find the missing link to where when humans made that evolution from, they say, apes or whatever to where we are now. They're like, we don't know what happened.
I mean, it would make sense if they would choose apes too, because they got thumbs. Thumbs mean a lot, man. Like thumbs make this shit happen.
They can pick up blocks.
Shoot a gun. You can open doors. Like it's a more of an advantage than people realize. And I can see why. Like maybe they had the option of we can use fish. We can use a bird. Thumbs. You can build shit. You can't. Nobody can build shit.
And they can mine gold.
Yeah, go mine gold. You can't do. A fish can't do it. Mm-hmm. A bird can't do it.
And they can use touchscreen devices.
I do a lot of stuff, man, with your magic fingers.
Mm-hmm. All right, so like as Earth began to develop intelligence, because they came down here to, modify the DNA of apes. Like the humans came, and then after they started getting a lot smarter, because after they modified the DNA, the ETs, like they bounced, they went back to the planet, and then they came back to see the progression. Like, okay, they're getting smarter. Like, all right, they learn how to make weapons to hunt and stuff. Like, all right, let's start living among them. So the gods, in quotations, because this is where all the legends come from, the gods came down to live among like the savages and the primate people, and they started teaching them. This is just like that movie Immortal. That's what it's called. Immortal. The Marvel movie.
Oh, the Eternals.
Eternals, yeah, my bad.
Underrated movie, man. People hate on that movie. I actually really liked it.
So this story is similar to Eternals, but this story came way before Eternals even came out. Like I got the story, like the story in the book is written way before even that movie came out.
Eternals might be inspired by this,
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, maybe like the writers of like Eternals, like they knew something about how humans develop in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's very similar. So like the gods, they came down and helped them with like with the plants, agriculture. How you say?
There you go. Agriculture.
Yeah, like they taught them all that stuff, how to grow, like what season to grow, when to do all this stuff, like like the basic surviving techniques. And then from there, they still live among them. And then from there, like humanity end up creating like civilizations. Yeah. Like okay, like these humans, they're getting a hang of it. And then like they live for, the reason why they call them gods is because like these ETs, they live way longer than like a regular human being. Mm-hmm. Like they don't just die. Like they live for like hundreds of years, to where they're like, yeah, they gotta be God because they don't die.
Yeah.
This is where the legends of gods come from. And then these people, they would
just for like the longevity of their life.
Right, they were like depictions of like, okay, this is God and God of so and so. And then if you look at them like in like history and stuff, they would describe these gods with like these abilities and stuff. They're able to do this, that. You're like, oh, okay, like there was like gods that live like among humans according to like these old stories. And then you wonder, were these people just making up stuff coming out their ass, talking about these beings that come from the sky? They came down and gave them all this knowledge and stuff. I
think people were more truthful back then than they are now.
Yeah, definitely. Because like
nowadays you got the internet and shit. People want to lie and flex all the time. Back then it's like, there ain't no paparazzi and shit. Like what type of, what you gonna gain out of this?
Yeah, because they have nothing to prove it with nobody. Because like nobody's gonna see this.
Nobody's gonna sponsor you.
Yeah, they probably don't even know how to lie. Because in the beginning it's like,
I'm being honest.
Lie? Like what?
I'm just telling you what I saw.
Yeah, basically they're just telling people like what they saw, like what happened, and how civilization started being created and stuff.
Yeah.
So like during like that whole time, they started like giving the knowledge to like certain individuals where they felt like they can hold like this type of knowledge but keep it like a secret. This is where we're gonna get into like the secret mystery schools, because the gods or whatever, the ETs, right, they know they're not gonna be there like for the whole time. So they wanted to give like sacred knowledge to just a few people. So they started picking like people to where they think like, all right, so and so, this guy is doing pretty good. Like I think he's able to understand like this knowledge and know like how powerful the knowledge is, and then they can start keeping it a secret so they can carry it on for like generations.
So they're basically just picking out people who they trust could carry the knowledge, because they ain't gonna be everybody's not gonna be built for this, So you gotta pick out a select few, I guess, out of the millions and millions and billions.
The millions and millions of people. Yeah, they would pick like a selected few that they know that they can hold this knowledge and keep it a secret. This is where I guess they call them like initiates. Like they're the people. They're kind of like the gatekeeper of knowledge. Like they understand a lot more than like the normal person. That's why, like, when shit hit the fan, they go to them for answers because they know more for some reason.
Yeah.
But the reason why they know more is because they were given that knowledge from something that was more higher than them, which is like the ETs, the one that planted us here.
Mm-hmm.
They're the one that gift them with that knowledge for a reason too, because they want this civilization to like flourish for I think reasons for like, because it's kind of like their own project, kind of like we're kind of like a project.
Right.
Like from the beginning, you know, after like the plants and the humans and dinosaurs and stuff, all that shit happened. Like when we came to the picture, it was supposed to be perfect. Like Earth was supposed to be like the perfect planet where nobody gets sick. But then like what happened was what they said, a meteorite came down and pretty much
infected everything.
Yeah, with all like diseases and stuff. So the planet was like infected with diseases,
space germs and shit.
Yeah, then like the people were like, well, the ET was like, damn, that ruined our little shit. Like, you guys
little project, yeah.
It's like, you guys want to start over, blow it up? They're like, no, man, we did all that work, all these centuries, thousands of years, whatever. They came to the point now they can create civilizations and cuss you out and shit, you know?
Yeah. Cuss you out, act like assholes. They're too far along now.
Yeah, so like, so when they gave the knowledge to like certain people, right? Like the monks and stuff, they started isolating themselves like in temples, like forming the secret mystery school where they learn like various like practices and techniques that they were taught, but they kept it all secret because it's like they can like manipulate, harness like energy and, you know, do things that a normal human cannot do. Let me give you one wild example. Like they can actually levitate and stuff and levitate objects without doing anything.
Okay.
But they know how to harness and control like power. It's almost like
it's like stage one of like their...
Right, it's like they're able to tap into like an energy where the normal people at the time have no idea. It just looked like magic. They'd be like, okay, these guys are definitely special. We got to keep this place sacred, like the temple sacred. Let them do their meditation. Nobody bothered them. And then they isolate like in the temples. Because I always wondered, like, do the people, like the monks and stuff, still till this day, like in those Tibetan monks, where they meditate in temples and caves, like all day? I'm thinking, like, do they really know, like, the meaning of this whole universe for them to sacrifice their whole life instead of living their life? They're in, like, the temple just meditating the whole time. Like, what, to me, I always thought, like, what are they looking for?
Yeah, it's got to be knowledge beyond here. It's got to be.
Like, even if they, like, acquire, like, this knowledge, in my head, I'm always asking, why are they in the temples 24/7? From the day they're born to, like, the day they die, they do the same thing every day. And all they're doing, they're in the temple meditating the whole time. And I always wonder, like, why? Like, don't they know, like, there's, like, a life to live?
Yeah, there's a whole other existence here, but maybe they found something, there's probably more value outside of this reality than...
But then this is like me at, you know, my time of being like ignorant. I didn't understand it. I'm thinking like, why would they do that? They're missing out on like fucking iPhone 5 just came out. They're missing out.
They're missing like Pornhub. They're missing all the good stuff, man.
But then like when you get in deeper within that, it's almost like these people that are doing like the meditations and stuff, like it's like they're keeping like some sacred like knowledge where they pass down to generations, and they keep carrying on that same knowledge, and they pass it down to certain individuals where they keep the knowledge like intact. Because I think the Tibetan monks, right? I think they knew something. They knew some knowledge that was so powerful to where it can actually like really do change the world if it were able to get out to like certain people's hands. So they kept it like safe.
Okay.
So like the whole world knew about this. They knew like, all right, so if the ETs were given these sacred knowledge to like these monks and stuff, and the monks are protecting it, like even with their life, because the temple has been attacked many times by outsiders who want to come in and then take that knowledge from them.
Yeah.
You know, because whatever the information they had on scrolls and stuff, all written, all in scrolls, like a normal person wouldn't even be able to understand that. Because a lot of this stuff is like,
man, it's so ancient. We don't know.
Yeah,
man.
it's like it's taught to them, but the reason why it's taught to them because they feel like their brain capacity can understand that type of knowledge.
Okay.
That's why there's certain monks were able to keep this a secret. Then when they pass, they pick their successor, and then he holds that knowledge, and then it keeps continuing on all the way till now. All the way to like
to the present day.
Yeah, and then I was looking up like the Ben monks and stuff, and they're saying like there's this new Dalai Lama kid born like from China. They said his like the reincarnation.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. They just got a new one.
Yeah, so they say. They said he's the one, the golden child.
Yeah, that's like they usually get their like new messiahs every now and again.
Yeah, then I wondered how they even like what kind of test that they did to even determine that this was the real exact reincarnation of.
Yeah, how do they pick these kids? Yeah, it's not a test. It's gotta be. I'm assuming they gotta search for the kid.
Yeah, I kind of remember what they did now. Like what they did was like when they had like an idea of who they think it was or who it is, they would go to that child's house, right? Randomly, like one day, it's like a random drug test. It's like that because the kid don't even know it, the family don't know it.
Yeah, they don't know. Yeah,
because they're doing like a test like none of them even saw coming. And then they give them like certain objects and stuff that the previous successor like was into or whatever. Like, you know, like
for the test to see like, hey, like you still
the same person.
Yeah, because like the soul will remember.
Yeah,
the kid may not. So it's like, look, we're gonna do a test. We're gonna run a test. You're not gonna know what, but your soul's gonna figure it out. And okay, I can see that. Yeah.
And then like see at first like the people that picked him, they get all these. It's like all the signs point to this kid, so they go there just to make sure. And then they did all the tests and they're like, yeah,
we got to recruit your kid.
All right, it's like 100%. Like this kid life changed overnight.
Yeah. So hey, ma'am, sir, your son is a mutant, and we're gonna take him to Xavier's school.
Like, yeah, we gotta take him now. Peace out. Like
you'll never see him again.
Yeah, his life will never be the same.
He's the chosen one. He didn't choose this.
Guardian of Earth and knowledge.
Rojam says, the search for nirvana, but is their nirvana the same as everyone else's? For real, man.
I think it's different. Like whatever they're doing, like the real legit ones, the monks that's not playing around, the one that's out there like in the caves and stuff, out there like dedicated. I don't know how long, how many years and stuff. Like there's like an example of like this one monk, right, who I think something happened to where he regretted something so bad to where he stayed in the cave for the rest of his life, right? And then he mastered some technique, like with his palm, like going against a stone, to where you can actually see imprints of a hands all over the mountain, like the caves. Like his hands literally like
pressed into the
like indented.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember in Kung Fu Hustle?
Yeah, it's like that.
When he was inside the little traffic light shit thing, and then he did all the palm strikes.
Yeah, it's like that.
That's what I thought of just now. Oh.
If you were to go to his cave, you see indented handprints.
I think the movie was like leaning,
and his shadow too, because he meditated at the one spot so long, his shadow like got stuck on the cave.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a very sacred spot.
I remember Kung Fu Hustle was like heavily influenced by like I think Buddhism, or something.
The five. Palm of death, or whatever.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, they got the story from that.
It's like bending reality because you can't be, man. It's almost like, oh man, there's like some Matrix level shit because it's like, okay, that's a wall, and your brain is like, it's like
a cave.
Yeah, you're like
an old ass cave.
Like you're in a cave, right? And in the regular normal human mind, I can say normal, but like the typical human mind would be thinking, hey, I see this wall. My fragile body can't break this. But if you can like meditate long enough, it's almost like you're willing, like you're controlling. I don't know. It's like controlling reality in some kind of way you're bending the laws of it now.
Basically like breaking the laws of this reality.
Yeah.
Like the laws don't even apply no more.
Yeah.
Because you're completely
like bending a spoon type shit.
Yeah, just like bending a spoon. Because, all right, it's like, hey, that's not supposed to happen. But like, all right, so what if you have like power, like in the other realities, you could do whatever you want. This reality.
Bringing it over here.
So like that dude was able to put handprints like in the caves.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like a famous spot. People go there to take pictures.
I feel like I've heard of it.
Yeah, they put their hands like on the cave. I was like, damn, that shit's lit.
Damn, we got some big ass hands. Fucking big ass handprint.
Yeah, it reminds me of like this other story of like this Indian guy. I think he's like a monk too. What's special about him? He doesn't like put his arm down. So he walks around like life, like with his arm up the whole time.
High five.
Yeah, where nails are growing. Like even when he goes to airport, he never puts his arm down.
Why?
So his arm, it looks all like deformed. It's because like it's something like to where like I guess if you believe in something like so much, like you're able to sacrifice like
A part of yourself.
like yeah, part of yourself to where I don't understand it fully, but like him, he just doesn't put his arm down. So his arm
That's
is like
crazy.
this, like in an airplane, dude. Imagine Delta, right?
Like, what is wrong with this man?
It's like, hey, put your hand down. It's like,
He better
no.
blow. I'm like, he better blow this bitch up.
It's like, no, I made a contract with myself that I'll never put my arm down again. Like, you can look it up. Like this dude,
Yeah, I was about to look it up right now. What does he do?
it's like up in the airport with his arm up the whole time.
Says for 38 years. Is that the dude?
So his arm been up for 38 years. I know it's been many years.
God, his arm is so frail.
Well, what's his name so we could tell people?
You see this shit?
Yeah, it's that dude.
Says me, man. Barati. Barati decided to raise his right hand in the air, as it has not lowered it ever since. Oh my God! For all you listeners, you guys should look this up. Just type in "man with man with hand in air for 38 years." It's crazy. His arm is so like you can tell the difference too between arms, man. Like his like click on that shit. Yeah,
it's real. Like I've been following
power
this
to the
dude.
people.
Yeah, this dude named
stuck.
like Dakota. Like he has like a channel where he goes around like India and all these like sacred places where he try to learn more about the spiritual world. And then he came across this guy, and then he actually was chilling with this dude with the arm the whole time.
Never put it down.
I was like, damn, you get to chill with this
look
guy.
at his hands, man. His nails look like nails, like an actual nail that you hammer.
Yeah, that's dude.
Oh, look, he hitting the pipe too. Damn,
Yeah,
chilling.
he can still hit a pipe.
Damn.
He answered all the questions.
Oh, you can tell his shoulders get out of place too. Oh man, he is it's all about devotion, man.
What's the square root of 136? The dude is already there.
So this is how he started. This is how his aunt. This is all right. So I saw a picture right here. 1 year, then 49 years later. Like,
Crazy.
real devotion, man. That is real dedication.
All right, I'm gonna take a leak real quick, then come back and finish this story up.
All right.
And we're back. All right, so like you know how like I told you guys how like these temples all around the world they've been holding like sacred knowledge for over centuries, passing down each generation, and they would pick like successors to hold the knowledge and then protect it. This is why like in Tibet, like they're being guarded by people with like AK-47s, assault rifles.
Yeah, they be geared up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the place
yeah,
like
yeah.
is guarded, like not because they're protecting like the monks. There's like a lot of sacred knowledge that not anybody can just have.
And I agree. They need to keep the blicky on them because, especially the way this world is, there's always people out there trying to explore, trying to figure out immortality or something mystical, and they want to run up in your land and then try to take all your shit. Keep the guns on you, man.
Yeah, and the whole world knew about this. They knew about the sacred temples. That's why like world leaders and stuff, they would send people out to these remote locations like Nepal, where Tibet is at and stuff, and they would try to infiltrate the place and then gain the knowledge, because they're like, all right, if they have like this type of knowledge, like we need to go there and get it. We got to manhandle it, go in there and take the knowledge from them. And I think that might have happened, but I think it wasn't as violent. But I think before, when they went through that interaction, it was violent, where the monks, they had to sacrifice their own self from giving up that knowledge. But I think till today, I think it came to the point where like they were backed up against the wall to where they were forcefully giving up the knowledge, because it's not the same no more. If you think about like how the world and everything is running right now, it's different. It's definitely not the same, and you can tell like
No, we're talking about from like then and now. Yeah,
because like look at like all our technology like from now in the last, let's just say the last 60 years. It's like an explosion.
Yeah, and it's like we shifted from like a spiritual world to now to like relying on man-made technology now.
Yeah, relying on like stuff to autocorrect what you're about to say,
Yeah.
and we're forgetting about like our true self.
I'm fucking how to spell because autocorrect.
Yeah, it's like we're losing
Shit.
like touch like with our own self like through technology. It's almost like we're giving up that, like we're giving up our true identity.
Yeah.
For like, because technology is taking over for your own thinking.
Right.
I think this is why like the new generation's having a problem with that, because they were born into technology to where the technology is doing all the thinking for them. And this is where they lose like their identity, because they don't have their own opinion no more. They're waiting for somebody to tell them what to think.
How to think and feel. And
like, oh, you should feel this way because 10 million people liked it and they said it's like this way.
And then once you get older, that's when you got to take it upon yourself to like kind of navigate through what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like the hard part about like with the new generation growing up. It's going to be hard for them to distinguish like with their true feelings from what the media is spilling out for you.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ways with that our generation went through too. I mean, we're all hitting that point, mid 30s now, going into our 40s and whatnot. And we're starting to find ourselves a little bit more, but it's starting to have our own opinions. Some of us are, but it's I think a lot of times too, way too many people just throughout time always look for validation from the public on how they think it should feel instead of, walking their own path. And it's kind of a dangerous line when you're looking for validation all the time, or,
social media is dangerous.
It's hella dangerous.
Like for the psyche.
I was watching something the other day where somebody was saying that my kids are like 15, 16 and no, they're not on social media. I'm like, my kids ain't gonna never get on social media. And I'm gonna check their phones every month too to see if they got a damn account. I'm on it, like, cause this shit's social media is too much even for an adult. You expect a teenager to just be able to just navigate their way through life, and
then you find out they're like running their whole business, like using the neighbor's Wi-Fi because they're able to crack it.
Got a whole system going on.
Selling drugs from the bedroom. Like, God damn it, you're running like a drug empire.
Silk Road is back. What the hell? I thought that shit was dead.
It's called Road Silk.
Road Silk.
Like they watched the whole documentary. Like, fuck this. We bringing this shit back.
Just flip the name around.
All right. So like, you know how I was saying like the knowledge was kept like secret. So like these mystery schools, like when you think of like secret school like that, like knowledge like that doesn't get kept secret forever.
Nah, man.
It's gonna someone's gonna come in and be like, man, fuck your magic secret. We're gonna take all that shit.
I'm telling the world.
So like in our current age now, from the hypnosis, people that went through the hypnosis, all the secrets are all available for anybody to learn about now.
Right.
You can actually buy books on Amazon to learn about secrets that was in like this temple. It's all written out in books because they got all the secrets. They wrote out in books, and then they said, I'm gonna give the world all the secrets now.
Somebody spilled the beans, man.
Yeah, this is why like you start seeing, I will say like the last, 10, 15 years, you see like people, they come across like knowledge to where you're thinking like they're writing books, right? And you're thinking, where did they come across all this knowledge? Because it sounds like a lot of stuff that a normal person don't pick up on this type of knowledge.
Maybe communication from the other side or something, or something.
Yeah, you would think like, all right, did they get possessed and they were able to get in contact with something? Because like a normal human couldn't be able to write like stuff like this because it's too complex. Yeah. Let me give you an example of one of the stuff that they got like from these temples. And I think you all heard of it now. Like, you ever heard of sacred geometry?
That sounds familiar. Did we talk about it before too?
Yeah, sacred geometry is one of the secrets that's been kept hidden for a long time. And this sacred geometry is probably one of like the most important things, like as far as like even like with scientists, like they use like the stuff that they learn with sacred geometry in their experiments and stuff. Even Tesla was saying, hey, if you guys want to learn like about the universe, it's like get into like frequencies and like vibrations and stuff. Right. And sacred geometry, they talked about all that shit, dude. Like at a level to where if you're looking at it, it's almost like written by like the most advanced like computer, because like the knowledge from like sacred geometry is so, I can't give you like example, but it's so detailed and complex to where I couldn't understand it. That's why I think like certain people, they were chosen, like disciples or whatever, initiates, they were chosen because they can understand the knowledge that's given to them.
Yeah, what a normal
human be like,
man, shit, I can't pass regular geometry. Shit, you showing me
octagon?
I had to take Miss Oswebu's class. What are you talking about? I don't know regular. I don't know this geometry shit.
Yeah, so like sacred geometry, like the shapes and proportion is often found like in natural patterns, such as like a snowflake or like a seashell. You know how we talk about the golden ratio?
Dimensions of it, I guess. The dimensions of it, like a snowflake or a seashell.
Yeah, you remember we talked about the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence,
the perfect
with the perfect shape. You know, where you can actually find it in all of nature, like a seashell, snowflake, or
perfectly designed,
or somebody who has a perfect face. You can tell like their face is perfect.
Just the dimensions of it.
It's all like it fits into the golden ratio.
It's like proportioned perfectly. Yes.
Yeah, so like the golden ratio basically came out from like sacred geometry, and then this sacred geometry is even being used by like cultures like ancient Egypt time. Like they knew about sacred geometry. It was passed down like from these guys, and then it passed down to like the Egyptians, to like the people in temples. So they try to keep the knowledge like safe, because it's like the knowledge of like the whole universe basically, and how to harness like this power. And sacred geometry was one of those things where they're like, all right, like if we know how to decipher all these information from this, we can build a pyramid, right?
Did you ever see like a couple years ago? What's her name? I can't remember. This model's name. I can't remember her name, but she was a model, and I remember seeing this on, like, I think it was like on CNN or something. I read an article about it, but this is around the same time we first talked about the golden ratio. So this is like a couple years back. I was reading an article about basically CNN saying like, oh yeah, so the golden ratio, they gave it to some white lady model, like the golden ratio of like she's got the perfect face design or whatever. And I was like, that's bullshit. I didn't really buy into it, but I was like, damn, this kind of it kind of like, I was surprised to see it because it like dipped its toes in like mainstream fucking news. I was really shocked, but that it was even talking about the golden ratio about a person's face, but it was like a white lady, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if me personally, I think there's an agenda behind why they said that, but it was interesting now just to hear them talk about like golden ratio in the news. I was like, what?
No, it could be anybody's face. It's like the proportion just has to match up.
Yeah, with each other, syncs up. Yeah, and they're trying to make it seem like she was like the perfect human. I was like, what? No,
that's probably like an example.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, because you could take anything. Like you could take like Shrek's face, right? And then you put it with the background with the golden ratio, and then you put it within the golden ratio, like you confine it
to the measurements and shit.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh shit, Shrek ain't ugly no more.
Yeah, because you see some people like their eyes are too far apart sometimes. It's like, oh,
the nose is off or something. Something's off. Like you can tell. That's why
I have some off shit, so I know.
Yeah, us humans, like we're so advanced. Like we can actually look at somebody, you could tell naturally like something's off. Yeah, man. You know, like you look at somebody that did plastic surgery. You didn't know they do plastic surgery, but you look at them and you'd be like, damn, something's off.
You had some work.
Like she's hot, but something's off.
You got these, I don't know, you got no wrinkles on your forehead. Like,
double eyelid? Nose job?
I was about to say reptilian, but yeah.
Yeah, like you can tell. We can tell naturally. Like, yeah, you look at the face like, yeah, that's off. You're born like that? Yeah, no, I understand. The genes, huh?
The genes.
The genes. It's too strong. All right, so I'm going to get into this lady. She's named Terry. This is one of the ladies that Dolores Canyon, she put under hypnosis. This lady, Terry, she lived on a ranch in Texas. She bred animals. She went to Dolores Canyon because she was having problems with her life. She's like, I don't understand life no more. Like, what is my true purpose? So they would come to this lady and be like, hey, what's my true purpose? All right, I'm put you under hypnosis. We're going to see what your subconscious tells you. So Dolores Canyon, she put her like in a trance, right? So like so then once she's in a trance, she's coming off like a cloud. She's describing everything. She's like, all right, I'm coming off a cloud. Like, all right, I'm looking at like this lady who has like black hair with bangs and stuff, with like a gold bracelet wrapped around her arm. And then she sees like a temple with columns. She's like, hey, like, where am I? You know, because this lady is a Texas lady, by the way. I don't think she know anything about like Egyptian culture or anything.
No, probably just damn college football and
yeah. And then she started talking. Like, according to Terry, the lady, she's like, she said, oh, like this woman, she's like an acolyte. You know what an acolyte is?
I'm trying to think. Acolyte, like just a servant of something, something greater, something like that.
Yeah. So an acolyte is basically like a person who assists people like in like religious like ceremonies and rituals.
Oh, okay.
They're like the helpers.
Okay.
So like she saw herself like as an acolyte for like a goddess, which is the goddess Isis.
Oh.
And she's saying all this from her own mouth. If you think about it, the normal person don't even know what the Isis god.
Is she from Texas too? The first thing she would say, like the terrorist. That'd be the first thing. She from Texas. That'd be straight up.
Right.
The brown people. That'd be. So she might be on.
Like she said, she's an acolyte. She's helping out, like, the Isis goddess. She said that she studied like the stars and the planets that was associated with the figure Isis in ancient Egypt. Like, who was Isis? She's like the goddess of ancient Egypt. She was a goddess of motherhood, fertility, nature, magic, and wisdom. She is believed to be the protector of the dead and the goddess of the afterlife. She was often depicted with the crow's horn and a solar disk on her head, and like Egyptian pantheons. So like her goddess figure, she was worshipped all the way even out throughout Greece and Rome. This is like an Egyptian god.
Yeah, okay, so she was jumping across borders.
Yeah, I got a picture like
let's go
of her. Like in Egypt, she's like depicted like this.
Okay, look at them wings.
And I told AI, I was like, hey,
queen.
Hey, let me see an Isis god. Like, might look like this.
Boom, what's she kind of hot? What?
Yeah, so like sometimes she's like, she has wings and stuff like this.
Okay.
But yeah, like, so Dolores was asking her. Wow, we lost all that recording.
Fuck.
Oh shit.
What do we do?
What a bad luck day, man.
It's one of them days, man.
Like, I took a leak, I'm in the restroom, like, calm down.
Something about to fucking snap.
I was like, calm down, dude.
And we usually look up there too. I don't know what the fuck. I usually look up there too.
I was looking in the sky, I was like, come on, man. Like, wasn't I like relaxed? I was like,
checking this time.
Wasn't I like relaxed when I came home? I was relaxed. I was like, okay, everything's gonna fix itself. And then this shit happens. Oh
shit! What the fuck?
Roll Jones like telling too many truth. Dropping too many truth bombs and shit.
Yo, thanks for letting us know, bro. Because if we would have went through this whole episode like this, I mean, this is bad. That was bad, but it could have been fucking worse, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I gotta tell myself sometimes so I don't scream.
Alright, and we're back. Alright, so like the last 20 minutes was probably in the trash now because it was never recorded. Our audio was completely shut off.
Damn it.
And we lost all that. And I don't know, I'm just gonna pick a random spot and then I'm gonna start.
Let's go,
so
man.
If the podcast sounds off.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
I say start with ISIS. That's the main thing I remember. Is it before then?
We're gonna start with the Tibetan monks in the temple.
Yes, there you go. Let's go.
All right, so like, you know how like the gods or the ETs, they gave this knowledge down to like the monks and the people in the temples and stuff. Like they end up becoming like priests and priestesses, and then they started specializing like various abilities. And then these were the people who were chosen to be taught like this certain type of sacred knowledge.
Okay, like the chosen one.
So it was passing down through generations, over centuries, where they're able to keep like this knowledge like a secret because the world doesn't need to know about this stuff, but it's still important like for the future.
Yeah, for a select few. So because somebody got passed on. I mean,
yeah, because we can't be having like everybody levitating and shit.
Yeah, no, because people gonna be doing stupid shit and abusing it and.
Right, like Earth be like the class be too easy.
Yeah.
It's like you come into class with like a cheat code.
Real. And that's not how you pass. When you cheat, you never learn. You may win, but you never learn when you cheat.
Right. That's why you hope, like the doctors in the future, they didn't cheat on their exams.
Oh God, man.
You hope they did study, and they know how to treat you right.
Little side story. This happened last year, where did you hear? Oh, this happened like last year. Where they found out there's like a lot of these nurses got pushed to this one school, and because the tests were like they were like just giving like tests, and because they didn't want to grade the nurses, they just passed all the nurses.
Damn.
And there's like hundreds of them, and they're out right now in the medical field who aren't trained nurses. It's horrifying right now, man. They try to keep that shit a secret, but
is this why like the nurses they're being caught doing TikTok dances?
And you know what? That was I swear to you, I was thinking the same thing when I was talking to them. I'm like, was it because of, what if they were the ones that kind of, because that story came out at the same time when the TikTok nurses were complaining about patients and stuff. That was around that same exact time. It was like, yeah, you know, a lot of them got pushed through and never actually tested. They was just like in a rush because I think it might have been like a lot of nurses that quit during COVID and just like, I'm done, and they need her been like, hey, we need to fill these slots in. Just shove these nurses in. That makes sense. And now you got a bunch of nurses who may get you killed, people. Y'all better Google.
That has like 10% knowledge of the actual career and shit.
We live in a world where we might have to Google our symptoms. It's going to be horrifying. Or YouTube how to fix ourselves.
To be like, I didn't learn this in school. And the patient's like, no shit.
Oh, no, I see how y'all roll on TikTok. I get
it. No shit, I understand. All right, so like, you know how the knowledge is passed down by these monks in these temples. Like, however, like in our current age, like the knowledge is now available for everybody to learn.
Okay.
Like, you can actually like, you can learn about this knowledge like buying a book off of Amazon. That's how much information has been spread out throughout this whole world, like since like the people in Tibet.
Just do books.
Not just Tibet, like there's other sacred temples I just don't know. Like,
yeah, for sure, just around the world. Yeah,
I'm just saying Tibet because to me, I understand. Like,
you just know more. That's what you know more about. Then.
Yeah, like I know like that's the spot for like when people go for enlightening and shit. Like Steve Jobs went to Tibet, came back, took over back his company,
Apple phone,
and blew that shit up. He was like, "Yeah, I'm back, taking over my company back. This was never yours. It's my company," and he blew that shit up.
Got a little pep talk for the monks,
right? Like,
I'm back, baby.
Like usually, like the stories like that, like you'll see people like they completely like they're on top of the world and they fall off of life. It's like, dude, what's the meaning of life? Period. Like, why am I grinding, bust my ass to make like this big ass successful company, and then like for what? And the next thing you know, you get fired from your own company, and then like, what is life for? You know, like what's the whole purpose? Then this is when they get into the stage where they start looking for answers, and then like Steve Jobs is like, all right, what's the first place like where people go like try to get like spiritual enlightenment or whatever? So he goes to like Tibet mountains and stuff, and then he went up there. I guess he did everything that they did like in their culture and stuff, and then he learned like various ways of different techniques for meditation and stuff. And then I don't know what happened to him, but something like he tapped into something to where he was like, oh shit, I understand now. And then that's when he went back to his company
with a brand new look. It was
the whole new Steve Jobs. Because I heard the old Steve Jobs was mean. Like I
heard he was a piece of shit
on his employees.
Yeah, I heard he was rough.
I heard he was like a hard guy to deal with. That's why they had to fire him. They're like, dude, you're scary, man.
Man, you scaring the shit out of all of us. You supposed to be.
Hey, you scary, boss. Yeah, like, he was literally the whole company was like, hey, like you became a problem. Like you can't be coming in here, this office all fucking jacked up on cocaine, candy, whatever.
It's like, you know what? We just sat around the table. We don't think we like you anymore. You gotta go.
You mean like? What'd you call me that one day? That hurt. I went home. I told my wife about it. My wife started making fun of me. You know, and my kids heard it. Now they're making fun of me.
Now they making fun of me.
Damn, Steve Jobs, like you ruined my life. We're gonna vote you out of the office. You can't vote me out. Like, this is my company. They voted him out.
We got a board.
That boy gone.
We have a board. That's why we have board members, my man.
Steve's like, man, fuck this shit, man.
I gotta go find enlightenment.
Suicide? No. I need to go find something else.
I need to go find life.
What is life? Yeah, so he came back and took over his whole company back. But yeah, so like nowadays, right? Like, you know how all the knowledge is kept secret. It's all available to everybody now. One of the reasons why she said like the information is coming out to the public more now, it's because she said the veil right now is thinning, like between this reality and other realities. It's really thin now. So like a lot of people, she's saying they're experiencing a lot like awakening and their vibrations and frequencies. Like a lot of people, they're being raised on the higher frequency now. That's why you're seeing like a lot of these I don't know, like yoga studios being transformed into like a meditation retreat, you know. I don't know, like not all of them are like legit, but I know some are legit, where they're actually really trying to help people and not just trying to make money off of them.
Yeah, it used to be like a spot where it'd be like the corner of the gym or whatever that you guys set up classes for. Now it's a retreat. So it's like expanded in far as
Yeah, be like, yeah.
bring your friends, bring your girl. Like, let's clear your minds out. And you have a whole weekend to do it too. And we got like nature and drink fucking Fiji water. You know,
Yeah. No, drink cave water.
Cave water. What's that?
Cave.
Oh, cave. Oh,
Cave,
the water.
yeah.
Oh, the real water from it's colder than anything we can make.
Straight from a dinosaur's mouth. Well, yeah, like you see like a lot of stuff like that. We have like meditation studios, and they even have like retreats, like ayahuasca retreats. Like what I heard, like Florida actually have a church for ayahuasca.
Really, that place?
And they have Florida? Like a yeah.
I'm shocked they would have that.
Yeah, then they have like a doctor on board to where they check like your everything, your blood pressure, like are you taking medication?
They're serious.
They make sure like you're like a like somebody who can actually take a psychedelic and still live.
That makes sense, man. It's like when you go to the doctors, they always want to check your blood pressure or whatever you go through.
Right. They just want to make sure like, you're safe, because there was like an instance that happened where there was like a ayahuasca ceremony where somebody took the ayahuasca and they end up passing away. And then they end up finding out like their medical records and stuff, like, oh, this person wasn't even suitable for any type of psychedelic mind altering drug, like
his body was too weak, man.
Yeah, and
not because like
I think they were under like a lot of medication too, to where it just didn't mix. So maybe it was like a confliction.
I'm pretty sure you gotta cleanse your body right before you even
yeah, like the whole idea this. Like a real ayahuasca trip, they make sure like you really cleanse, like you didn't eat like for a few days, and then you go into the jungle
on an empty stomach. That's gonna be horrible.
And then like you're vulnerable, like you're dirty, you didn't take a shower, you're in the jungle, like all your like, because like a lot of celebrities, they go do that shit and they try to look cute the whole time. No, by the time they take ayahuasca, they all look like shit and they smell and they're vulnerable. They're like, hey, I'm sorry if I just took a shit in the temple, but my bad. But the whole reason is to be like vulnerable, and be like your complete full self, where no one's gonna judge you, and then that's when your whole real trip starts. So then you get to see what it's like on the other side.
No mind altering stuff going in. Just clear mind, clear body.
Yeah, they know like if you're like using drugs and stuff. Like a lot of people they get purged to where most of them, they would throw up like a whole bunch of shit. They start throwing up blah 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 blah. Then boom, they all jump into a trip. But they all go through that nasty throwing up stuff. The body's rejecting like the medicine, and then at the same time they're tripping out with the ayahuasca. She's saying like, yeah, I know what you did. You snuck in that marijuana. You try to smoke that shit around me, motherfucker.
I got you.
Like, you know who I am.
I see you.
And then boom, throw like his whole life history in front of his face. And then like, holy shit, how do you know I'm like this? How do you know I'm just a scumbag? Like, I know everything, young man. Know everything about your whole life. Know everything. Like, watch this. They start showing off, making shit happen in real life. You're like, watch this branch. Yeah, they started making you like connecting like if you're having like a spiritual like psychedelic trip, right? They would connect your trip with another person's trip. And then you two at the end would talk about the same thing.
But hey man, you was there too?
Hey, that was you and shit.
We linked up.
Yeah, they would have like they would synchronize trips.
Yeah.
That's when you know that's just super real. When another person experienced the same thing you did. And that's when it gets scary, to where you back off of this life a little bit. You're like, hey, what's really going on?
Yeah, it's gotta be like one of them things where you come across like, from a real world perspective, like you come across a friend at a grocery store. Like, hey, how's it going, man? But on a different level. It was way different level.
Completely different level.
Way different.
But yeah, so like so the sacred knowledge that came out of these temples it's called sacred geometry. I really don't want to get into this sacred geometry, man. It's so complicated.
Sacred geometry.
Damn, like the whole shit, like how the podcast started, and then our podcast, half of it got destroyed. I can't even jump into that same shit again.
Sure, I'm down for it, man.
I don't even want to talk about the lady named Terry who breed horses, but then she ended up going through like a hypnosis.
Oh my god,
yeah. Let's just jump in your story. This podcast is like,
no man,
it went to shit.
All right,
we're gonna jump to the next story. Maybe I can continue this story on the next show or something.
Part 2.
that threw off everything for me.
Man, we had a good roll on that, man.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. All right, so let me start my shit. Let me get my notes.
All right, we're gonna jump into the dancing plague with Chris Unholy.
All right.
I then like whatever like I listen to, like if the playback, whatever, then I'll try to
stitch it together,
redo it or something.
Okay.
Do like a side recording, talking by myself.
So,
just to fix it.
So, yeah, that's what you're saying. Like adding your own stuff. All right, folks. So next topic we got tonight, a random topic I came across, but it's a very good one. So basically, back in 1518, there was a thing called the dancing plague, right? So in the summer of 1518, the dancing plague in the Holy Roman city called Strasbourg, which is now modern day France, saw about 400 people dancing uncontrollably in the streets, and it to this day is still a mystery. And it went on for months too. I think it went on for like several months of people just like spontaneously dance. It's like a flash mob, but
they don't stop.
But it don't stop. It went on for like 2 months where people were just dancing on the street. But it started on like July 14th, 1518, with a woman named Frau Trophia. Basically, she was like this German-born woman. She was a German-born housewife who had a husband and whatnot. And one day she just woke up and then out of nowhere just started dancing. Like went in the street, just started dancing. Kept dancing, and people walking past like, what's wrong with her? She was dancing all damn day. And then she wound up going to bed later, exhausted. And then the next day she just woke up. She went back out in the street and started dancing again. Like from my understanding, like she woke up
with no music.
No music. Like she woke up the next day from dancing the day prior. She woke up and started like tapping her foot. Just started tapping her foot, and then all of a sudden, like she started getting like some rhythm, and then this as soon as she got out of bed, and then she went back on the street, started dancing again. And while this was all going on, people were walking past, and then throughout the course of her just dancing and dancing and dancing, other people started joining her, started going over.
So they got like in that trance.
Yes, they got like sucked into it, and they all started dancing along with her. So they started dancing, and then over time it started building up to where 400 people within the town started dancing with her throughout the entire town, and everyone was confused on why the hell are these people dancing their asses off. And so basically, once we get to a point where the church started to step in, try to figure out if it was like demon possession, and
meanwhile they're still dancing.
Meanwhile they're still dancing till their feet was bleeding. People were passing out, but everyone was just dancing their ass off. And so the church went up stepping in, and they try to figure out this way of how do we deal with this. And churches back then were wild. They thought doctors and churches were the worst back then, because if you was a little off, it's either because you weren't religious, or a lot of times a lot of doctors back then would be like, hey, you have too much blood in your system. So they would do this thing called bloodletting, where if they feel like this is a term called hot blood, where back then they thought if people were acting crazy, that means like the blood within their brains was like heating up too much, and it was causing them to do hysterical shit. So they used to like split people like open with knives and just drain their blood out to like just start going white, because it's like considered bad blood. But that shit was like not it was like a very unhealthy like thing to do, because you're killing them, you're bleeding people out. But it was like, hey, bloodletting, let all this blood out. And then and of course
Chinese did do something like similar.
Really?
Like when you're sick, I think like they do something like they prick your finger.
They kind of let out some bad blood,
and then like they wouldn't have like a stomach ache no more.
Oh, okay. And that's how it was back then. What they was doing with that was like, hey, we're gonna let some of this bad blood out, and then because your red blood cells replenish, your blood's gonna make more blood, obviously. But
yeah, I learned that from like Olympics.
Like was that in Olympics too? Like cheating, right?
Because
I think that's what I heard. I think
like
that's
they
maybe
take
that's
the
what
blood out, right? The blood replenished, they put the blood back in.
Yes, and it gives them like
so they got double blood.
Yeah, I think we talked about a couple episodes ago. Like that gives you like a boost of like oxygen or some shit.
Yeah. So they do like that one lap.
Still doing it to this day.
One real ass lap.
Right.
Yeah.
So they was doing bloodletting back to some of these folks, and then the church was stepping in, was like, hey, this is like some like possession or whatever going on. And eventually like the churches and this one guy, what's his name? I don't have his name right here, but Paracelsus, he's a guy who wound up showing up to the area of basically just showing up to the area. 8 years after the fact, he's like this we call it basically like one of them smart dudes who just goes around, he travels and tries to gain knowledge around the world. And so he actually wound up going to Strasbourg 8 years after the fact, after this whole dancing plague ended. And he started doing some research and finding out that okay, it started with this woman and this other thing. And so he started making up these accusations saying that, okay, the lady, Frau Trophia, basically started making accusations towards her saying that, oh, well, she's just a housewife who didn't want to do chores. And so she started making this up. So that was one of the main things that he started spreading throughout the town. Like, yeah, it's her fault because she's just being a lazy wife. Because back then, all else fails, you blame it on women sometimes. If they ain't got women, you got black folks. But they was just trying to blame it on somebody. They blamed it on a lady saying like she didn't want to do her chores, and that's why she started dancing for like days on and days out.
That's what they came up with.
That was their answer. Just like there's no other way we could figure it out. Like she was just she didn't want to do her chores, which is like the most. That's like the most mansplaining shit.
This is like before all the drugs, all the cocaine, all the
stuff. And before all these type of drugs, and so they did do some I guess their research back then. They was trying to see like, okay, maybe it was like poison wheat, which is caused like, I guess poison wheat back then was caused like trembles in the body. So they were saying like, okay, maybe the wheat is poison because in that time frame, and I'll explain a little bit later in the story, they was going through like a shit ton of famine in that town. A whole lot. And if anybody knows about the history of like Europe, especially France, when they had the bubonic plague and stuff, like France and all of Europe, like it's not as pristine as the movies make it look. Mm-hmm. Like these movies were like back then, like France and Europe and everything was like, which is so strange because back then, before all this shit, right? You had ancient Egyptian times where they were the first ones who discovered plumbing, right? A whole plumbing system in Egypt. And now in 15 some years, like 1500 and something, whatever, then you have like in France and all throughout Europe, there was like tossing shit out of windows because like horrible plumbing systems or no plumbing system at all. And plagues were kicking off. People were dying in the street, whole types of mess going on. And so what they was trying to figure out was like, okay, maybe it's like the wheat. And another accusation they was trying to figure out was, well, maybe there's like a dancing cult going on that they believe in like God is like cursing them over the town and whatever, and trying to like, she's the catalyst of it, and that's the one who's like spreading the curse throughout the town.
So they killed her.
No, so they actually, well, before they got to the point of actually trying to cure her, the church was like, okay, how do we solve this? Because the church knows everything. The church was like, okay, how can we solve this? Because now we got 400 people dancing in the street, and they're not stopping. And so they was like, oh, you know what? They hired like a band, and they brought like a little square out, and they was like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna exhaust all these people out to make them dance even more. And it's to burn them out, and then but just by playing music. Because what they want to figure out was like the people are dancing, but they're dancing to the music in their head. There's just people just like imagine walking down the street, see somebody dancing, but
they're all beat.
But the soundtrack is in their brain.
Yeah,
you're like, what are they doing? Like
they're not hitting the beat that we're playing.
Yeah, there's like that, and so like when
they're crazy.
They're just lunatics maybe, and so like the church wound like by taking a band, putting them out on the street, and the band just like just playing for them. And there's like a specific area for where they play because there's a specific area where they played at, and so the band would play, and sometimes they would like play like the tempo even faster to make them dance faster because they was trying to exhaust them. And then they realized it wasn't working because these people were like feet were bleeding, people were getting sores, people started dropping dead. They said like on average like 15 people were dying a day doing this dancing plague. 15 like people just dropping dead, having heart attacks, all types of cardiac issues because they were just like dancing nonstop. And they still couldn't figure it out. So then the church was like, you know what, we need to take these bands away because we're getting more people dancing. So basically they banned music in the entire town. They just banned music. So if you play music, you guys were going to jail. So they like went from one extreme to the other. There was like kind of like this troubleshooting this shit.
Yeah,
and
that's horrible.
And they couldn't figure out which way to go. And so what they started doing, they eventually took the lady and they actually wound up taking her to the I guess like a mountaintop area or whatever. And they basically prayed over her to Saint Vitus, who was actually like this little boy back during like 303 AD. He was like a Sicilian saint martyr. This is who they because you got like different martyrs and stuff. Because I guess people who died in like martyrdom ways back then, they worship too as like a hey martyr that died, because even this boy I'm about to explain, he was a real boy that actually died during like the great what's it called, it's like the great persecution back during when Rome was like going around just killing Christians left and right. They was just wiping out Christians, and he was like a little boy that was murdered when they took his body, or they beat him and tortured him, and he was like 12 or 13. They beat and tortured the boy, and they put him like in this cauldron of hot lead, and after they took him out the hot lead, they fed him to lions.
Damn.
And then so this is when the story of religion kind of steps in. I believe the boy did die like this, but because he died in such a horrible way, they made him into a martyr, where he's now like somebody you kind of like there's been sayings of the reason why this dancing plague broke out. Some are saying like this is the boy's revenge against the whole area, or it's kind of like basically like they want curing people with this whole dancing plague, because they started taking people up to the top of this mountain area, and they were putting blessings on him from Saint Vitus. So some people say like he's the cause of the plague. Some people saying he's the one that cured it, but it's like either way, it's just like some little boy that was murdered, and people was like, "Oh my God, they did a horrible boy," and people started worshiping this kid. But after the boy was murdered, the legend started of how after he got pulled out of the hot molding lead in the cauldron, instead of like him being eaten by lions afterwards, the story, this is an urban legend now, or a legend they had back then, that the boy, the lions actually like licked the lead off his skin and cleaned him, and he came out he was unharmed. And he wanted to become like this martyr to bless people with healing and all sorts of stuff. So doing this, and one of the main things he dealt with healing was like dealing with trembles or any type of like disease that caused the body to tremble. And so
I would think from lead poison, right?
I guess you would think, right? Like it makes kind of sense. And so when old girl who was patient zero that started all of this, they took up to the mountaintop, they did a blessing on her, and then these people started getting cured after that, I guess. So I was like, hey, this is like the healing boy that actually died, but he's like a martyr that we bless ourselves to we call him when we need stuff. So that was basically what they lean into. And this boy basically like, and this only, and mind you too, this only lasted for like 2 months, but it was just like this frenzy of people just dancing and dancing.
But they had it all documented.
Like they started going through the research and stuff, and there's no answers on why it started or how it started, but it happened. Like people documented it and stuff. Like I said, what's his name? Paracelsus, who was like this I can't think of the damn name right now, but just a scholar type person that was traveling the world. He had went there 8 years after the fact, and he like wrote down his notes on eyewitness accounts and stuff. So it was only 8 years removed from when it happened, and people were still there like, yeah, man, that shit was crazy, man. Like, people just started dancing randomly, and they was getting eyewitness accounts. And then so when people look back on it now, there's like grabbing the records and like, oh shit, this has really happened. Now how it happened and how it ended, the stories are kind of mixed up, but it was a time where people were just dancing in the street till their feet was bleeding, dying and whatnot
in France.
And in France. And a lot of times they try to go down to like, okay, what was the causes of this? And one of it was like I said, like poison grain was an option that a lot of these doctors and stuff were leaning into. Another one was epilepsies, and like I said, the dance cult. But I kind of agree with this too, where they said this might be the biggest reason why. It was basically just simply like mass hysteria. Like people just start losing their minds, because in that time frame, because this is in 1518 when this happened, in that time frame, that city actually went through like 4 serious famines in between 1492 and 1511, and it was like thousands of people just hundreds of people just getting killed by starving out and dying. Europe back in that time frame, like I said, disgusting. There was no sewage system, so people throwing shit out the window. That's how bubonic plague was started over there. There was they talked about even too where when stuff was kicking off, they weren't burning the bodies, so bodies was just laying in the street dead. Animals eating off of it, ants was eating off of it, all types of insect, like rats was eating it. It was just a mess over there. So they was getting to the grind of just like a disgusting world where these people didn't know how to like deal with bodies and stuff, and it just kept carrying on and on and on. And they were saying like, because, and also too with the famine, which is like basically low food shortages. And then that was another thing that happened in 1516. Food prices went up, and so people that was already poor, they couldn't afford to eat, plus the famine. And they said like in 1517, a year before people started dancing around in town, they actually got their 5th famine, which killed the most people. So by the time 1518 rolled around, they're drawn to the fact that maybe everybody just lost their damn mind, and it was like it wasn't just her. It was just like because like back then, because so people was probably like relying so much in religion that when they started losing their mind, they probably thought they was being possessed, but it made it just because like they just probably just maybe just psychologically just like lost touch of reality. Because it was a depressing time back then, man. It was nobody was able to. They weren't like doctors running around. The doctors they had back then was cutting people and bleeding them out. You know what I'm saying? This is what they had. So it was,
yeah, they didn't know any better.
They didn't know no better. And it's like these people that was left to live in these type of areas. The story that they explain about mass hysteria being the real thing, I probably believe it the most, even more than any kind of supernatural angle, only because during COVID out here in America, how people lost their fucking mind for 2 years just to have to stay inside the house. Imagine that shit back then when it was like way crazier and there was like no type of
where there's no information,
man, no information, nothing. So that's
it's just what you see with your own eyes.
Yes, and you seeing people just dying, and also too, they was having an issue in that town too, where the orphanage in that town was actually it was too many people there. It was too many kids in the orphanage because a lot of parents were getting wiped out through all these famines and all that. So I think they had like 300 kids more in the orphanage than they were supposed to. So that was another thing that was a problem with the town. So you had a bunch of orphans in the orphanage stuck there and couldn't do nothing. The town was just depressing. It wasn't like no beautiful Eiffel Tower in the distance and right on the boat with your girl down some river. No, it was like shit everywhere.
I heard it's still kind of shit.
Really? I haven't been to France. I always want to go.
I heard it's dirty, like in the daytime, like Vegas.
I could probably see that, man.
Yeah,
I could definitely see.
I mean, I don't know. That's just what I heard.
Yeah, Vegas can be messy.
Don't attack me.
this is what I heard about, man. But yeah, so but yeah, that was basically my short story right there. That was it. Is because like I said, they never discovered or found out how it happened. It just happened. People started dropping dead. It just ended. It ended as suddenly as it started, just random. And I don't think they're ever gonna find out.
Yeah, that is a wild story, and I'm wondering if like people, you know, like do they tell this story like to certain generations, like oh yeah, like back in my great grandmother, like they had this thing where people were dancing on the street until they died and stuff.
Just
like,
died
do you think they still tell
that
like,
story?
This tale
for sure, man. Even when I first heard about this story, just Sunday, and I looked it up, and then I saw there was like YouTube videos of it, like with millions of views. I'm like, oh, this is new to me, but apparently this is. Other people know about this stuff, and there's probably more people over there that
think like the people that has actually heard that story like in real life. They look at shows where they talk about it, like, oh shit, that's a story. Like
my grandma
told me to talk about that.
My meemaw told me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
Dancing Plague, crazy as shit. I never knew this was a thing.
Like, when you said that, the first thing I thought of was like you know what they do in Louisiana. With the beads.
Oh, Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. That's what I was thinking. People dancing in the street. I was like, okay, Mardi Gras.
Show us your tits.
Yeah, they're drinking out in the streets, just dancing all night. That was the first thing like I thought of when you said that people were just dancing until they died. I thought of like Louisiana.
Just when the saints go marching in, and then everybody just
with the skeletons and shit. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know it was like a story like in like France.
Yeah, that was real shit. It was just dropping dead from dancing, man. It was like the most extreme version of Footloose. I don't know how to explain it. It was crazy as hell.
That is wild. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
We can end this episode because I want to like backtrack, see what the hell happened.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's gonna short one. Sorry guys, it's gotta be a little short one tonight.
I think we still got like enough stuff. But yeah, like that whole shit threw me off. The whole episode being cut in half.
Yes.
While I was like spilling my heart and shit.
Dude, that was good shit, man.
Like in this one time in Bandcamp, all that was like wasn't even recorded.
Oh man!
All right, we thank everybody for joining us. Road Jam, thank you for joining us tonight.
Always, Road Jam, thank you.
We'll catch everybody next week on Tuesday. Peace out. Adios.
See you guys.
It's not illegal to not listen to music. It's illegal to